Okay, we're back again today for another discussion. This is Dr. Blue, and I'm here with Sir Phoenix Black, and we are going to talk about subspace and top space. I call it the floaty place.
Yes, she does.
Okay, so I think we know a lot about, in general, most folks know a lot about subspace. So, how about you tell me?
Now, we shouldn't assume that they know.
Well, okay. I just thought maybe it might be more talked about than top space is. You know?
Well, subspace definitely does get more attention than top space.
Yeah. So let's start with talking about top space. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, what is your experience with top space? Like, are there certain situations or certain conditions that get you to top space more so than others?
Probably for me, I would have to say impact play. That's probably the thing that gets me to top space the quickest. And even more if it's something that requires a lot of control or focus, like the bullwhip.
Yeah. Okay, so wait. We forgot. What is top space for you? Like, how do you characterize top space? What does it feel like?
Well, from what I've read and what I've experienced, what I've read, they've described top space as kind of a heightened sense of focus, a heightened sense of purpose, that kind of thing. Kind of the same thing that high-level athletes feel when they are, they're playing their given sport.
Yeah. In psychology, that has a name. It's called flow.
Yes, and I've read that too, that they call that flow. And that's kind of what the experience is for me as well. It's a heightened sense of focus. Time seems to speed up for me. I think I've read that they say that for the top or the dominant, that time seems to speed up. And
is that true for you?
Absolutely.
So are all the things that you have read about,
I've kind
have
of
you experienced those things? Is there anything that you've read about that you haven't experienced, or vice versa?
No, I don't think so. I think everything. The only thing that I had never experienced, and I've only experienced once, was top drop, and I've only experienced that one time.
What does that feel like?
It feels like exhaustion.
Is it just tiredness? Is it physical tiredness, physical exhaustion, or mental exhaustion?
For me, it felt more like mental exhaustion because you're in this heightened focus place. And then when you don't have to be in that heightened focused place, it's like a crash. And you feel like, it just is depending on the type of play, you might be physically exhausted as well. But for me, it's more like mental exhaustion. And I just have to not be touched or talk. I don't want to talk. I don't want anything.
So you don't need aftercare?
I'm not saying I wouldn't necessarily need aftercare.
What is aftercare for a top? Like, what does that look like?
For me, I don't know, because I never got it.
Oh my gosh, what do you need? You never tell me what you need. What do you need?
I don't know what I need.
You don't know what you need?
I just know I want to be. I know I don't want to talk. I know that's the one thing.
Okay, you don't want to talk. So no talking is part of aftercare for you.
Yes.
What about touching?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, so this is difficult. Because if after a scene I'm in my little realm or whatever of the floaty place, I'm not in the space to do anything for anybody else. Right. So I'm wondering, like, does a top get aftercare? Like, do you give it to yourself?
I think a top.
Do we need another person there to give you aftercare?
I think that probably. I don't know, because like I said, I've only experienced top drop once. But from what I remember of it, probably what I would want is I remember feeling kind of chilly. So I probably would have wanted
a blanket,
maybe a blanket,
or something, a little throw or something.
Yeah.
And water.
All always water.
Yeah.
Probably a blanket to kind of take the chill off.
Yeah.
Warm, water.
Water.
And probably just really be left alone.
Just be left alone. And see now, okay, so I started off asking you what are the conditions or certain types of play that will, that are more likely to get you to experience top space. And you said impact play.
Impact play, but for me specifically, probably the bullwhip is one thing that.
Now, why is that?
Because it requires a great level of. It requires a higher level of focus and requires a higher level of self-restraint.
So it's something about having to exercise restraint
and a higher
focus.
level of focus. Because the bullwhip, you can break the skin. You can really hurt somebody. You can put someone in the hospital with the bullwhip.
Yeah.
And also, so not only do you have to have a lot of restraint as far as how much force and your technique with it, but you also have to have restraint in where you're hitting. So when you add the two together, it requires self-restraint in the amount of force you use, and it requires focus in where you're hitting. So, and you obviously as a dominant, you want to protect property. You don't want to go over someone's limb. You definitely don't want to, really, really harm someone. So, it requires it's like walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
It's like walking a tightrope. So it requires a great level of self-restraint and a great level of focus. So but then if you're doing that for, 20, 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
After you stop, you're like, you're satisfied because my sadistic tendencies have been,
right.
been satisfied, but you're tired because you've had to have self-restraint. You've had to have, like floggers don't require, it's technique, but for the most part, you don't have to worry so much about force unless you're using like chain floggers or something like that. But if you're using like leather floggers, suede floggers, whatever, the level of restraint is not quite as necessary. Now you still have to have the technique and the focus, but combining the two, kind of like do that for 20 or 30 minutes, I'm out. Now going back to the time thing, this is something that I do specifically when we play at home. I like to try to do it when we play publicly too. Is I have a specific playlist of music. The music.
Yeah, I call it scene music.
Right, scene music that I have, and that music helps me keep time. I know how long each song is, so therefore, when I hear a certain song, I know, okay, we've been playing 30 minutes. I hear this song, I know we've been playing 45 minutes. I hear this song, we've been playing an hour. So that's the way I kind of keep time. And I actually got that idea from the movie Inception.
Yeah.
Because that's how they kept time in the movie.
I never saw that movie. I never saw that movie.
If you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie. It's great. It's
yeah,
great movie. So I got that idea from the movie Inception, is how to keep time. Because for me, time speeds up. And see, also when we're playing, I need to give you proper amount of warm up.
Yeah. Thank you.
To help you get there.
I am not a masochist. Really, not really.
She's maybe just a little tiny, but she's not a pain slut. She's not a full masochist like that. So I need to give you a proper amount of warm up so that you can get to your floating place. So, but because time speeds up for me, it's very easy for me to say, okay, that's enough. Now I can get to it. I can get to the entree or whatever. But it's not enough. So the time, the music helps me say, okay, I've warmed her up for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever like that, so that I can keep the time. The music helps me keep time so that I can actually do for you, but to help you get to where you want to get to, and not, if I'm not keeping time, I'll have a tendency to maybe rush through it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's go back to talking about the top drop again. And I don't know, I've never heard of any type of any D type ever saying anything about what to do for himself or herself with regard to top drop or, aftercare for doms or dames, or I've never heard anybody talk
Well,
about that.
from D types that I've talked to and stuff, it's not, top drop is not something that we experience. Actually, be honest, from what I've and people I've spoken to and talked to, top drop is not something that we experience. We experience it fairly rarely.
Yeah.
And the whole time that we've been together, I've experienced it once, and we played probably I don't know how many times.
Yeah. So like, let me ask you this, because okay, so maybe you don't have that happen often, so that's not an issue. But every time we play, I know I need aftercare. Mm-hmm. So do tops need aftercare too? I mean, it's not something that comes up.
I think it's one of those things.
Some kind of aftercare. It might not look the same.
Yeah, I think that we probably, if we ask for it, and if a dominant can actually, and I know that's a whole nother story, but if a dominant can actually, our top can actually ask, say, listen, I'm experiencing drop. Can you help me?
Or do you just do you would say that a top would only need it if they were experiencing drop? I mean, I don't always get drop afterwards, like immediately afterwards, but I always get aftercare. I mean, is this something that's not even needed? It never comes up, but I always wonder about, how much, it just seems like that, this is supposed to be an exchange. Even if it's just a situation where it's only play, it still is an exchange.
Yes.
And it just seems like a lot of attention is on the safety of the submissive or the safety of the bottom, and the care of the bottom and so forth. But I find myself wondering a lot about the care of the top, even when we think about safe words, we don't, oftentimes people don't talk about safe words in terms of the top needing a safe word. They talk about the bottom needing a safe word.
I think part of the reason why part of the reason why I think they're not so much concerned about the top needing a safe word is because the top is in control of the scene.
True, that's true. And I get that.
So if he wants to stop, he can just stop.
Just stop. I mean, I get that. I get that part too. And I mean, I just use that as an example to go along with what I'm saying. My bigger point is that all of the attention of care is put on the care of the bottom more to me. And I often have wondered what kind of aftercare or post-scene care of any type, if any, do tops need? You know what I mean? Like, do you need anything after a scene? And who gives it to you after a scene?
Well, I will say for myself that when I play, or when we play, after the play, usually I'm hyped. I'm amped. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, like I done had 6 cups of coffee. So usually I'm amped. And it takes, for me, again, I'm saying specifically for me, the drop comes much afterwards.
Okay, so it wouldn't be something that happened immediately.
Let me give you an example. When we play and I give you aftercare, usually when you're coming back, when you're like back to, lucid and everything like that, usually that's when I'm starting to go down.
Ah, okay.
So my drop usually happens after I know you're okay.
Okay, I get it.
I think that might be a some type of symbiotic kind of thing too. Once I know that you're okay,
then you can relax.
That's when I start to drop.
Okay, it kind of makes sense.
So, cause see, as long as you're still kind of floaty play, not quite lucid, my focus is on you. My focus is on, and I play with other people, but whoever I'm playing with, I'm focused on them being okay.
Yeah.
Once I have established the fact that they're okay, that's when I start to come down.
And you can actually look after yourself at that point. Okay, well that makes sense. So I guess we can talk about sub drop now, or subspace now.
Oh.
Floaty place. And I think different people get to the floaty place via different means. I don't think that the floaty place necessarily feels the same for every person. I described it to a friend of mine who's a vanilla friend of mine, and she said it sounds orgasmic. And I had not thought of it as orgasmic before, but when she started to talk about it, I was like, you know what? It kind of is. I think, I think it is.
Is it kind of a meditative trance? I've heard it described that way.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, it almost feels like a sensation induced state of no mind. So in that sense, the no mind part definitely feels like meditation. Except when I meditate and I reach that state of, I don't always get to the no mind place when I meditate. It takes a lot of focus, a lot. And I'm not that well practiced. Mm-hmm. So it takes a lot for me to get there. And when I have gotten there, I have to there's a lot I have to do to maintain that state of no mind, mm-hmm. Where I don't have any thoughts and there's nothing happening up there. I'm just kind of out of it. But when I get to subspace and that place of no mind, I don't really have to do anything to maintain that. Once I'm there until you start talking to me, mm-hmm. and I remember times where I was about to fall asleep and then you started talking to me right before I drifted off to sleep. You see what I mean? Mm. So I do think that it is a state of no mind that's similar to that state of no mind that one reaches in meditation. Mm. But it's something else about it that it is, it's almost kind of like involuntary, like I don't have to do anything really to get there. Mm. I mean, like, in the moment, active in the moment. One thing that I feel like I do have to do to get there, but this is long before, the play even starts, is I have to feel safe letting go. Because if I'm like not feeling 100% safe or comfortable, you know what I'm saying? And I can't get, to that place where I can let my thoughts kind of just, fade away, then I won't get there. And getting there at the dungeon,
yes, I was just about to say that.
It's so hard because it's noisy. It's all this noise, random people yelling. It's not. It's a lot going on.
I've experienced where really just about every time we play at home,
yeah,
get there.
Yep.
But at the dungeon is very hit or miss.
Yes.
I think you've only been, if I remember, you've only been at
once or twice. Yeah, maybe no more than twice.
Right.
Yeah, and it's
I know once was this last time.
Yeah, last time. Yeah, last time it was. But it was.
And now, mind you, oddly enough, there was a whole lot of people in there that night.
There were a lot of people. I don't know why it was possible that night. I don't know what made that night different because it was a lot of screaming going on. And then usually other people screaming distracts me and it snaps me out of it, and that's why I can't, get there. But I remember the first time I felt myself go there. It's such an odd thing where, usually the flogger is what usually does it. That's my favorite one. And I think that rhythmic, the rhythmic hits of the flogger is part of it. Lulls me into this kind of relaxed,
But you get there with the paddle too now.
Yeah, I have gotten there with the paddle too. But what ends up happening is it hurts so bad, and then I feel this like blast of like pain that's like almost unbearable, and then like right after that, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything anymore, nothing. And I'm just kind of just out of it. It's almost like an out of body type of thing.
I'll tell you how it was explained to me because I used to kind of have a thing where you would get to subspace faster than I was satisfied. I'm like, I want to. Yeah,
you weren't ready for me.
I wasn't ready for you to get there.
Yeah, because once I get to that point, I don't.
Right.
I don't respond. I'm just there.
Yeah, she's just there. But what I was told is that and this was kind of like the analogy was used, is that you're at the edge of the cliff, and it worked well because you always call it the floating place. You're at the edge of the cliff, and you're gonna push her off the cliff, and she gonna fly. If you want to extend the scene, pull her back from the cliff.
Sometimes that's frustrating though, a little bit.
It's like edging, huh?
Yeah, it's like, you
but here's the
know,
thing.
right when I'm right there and I get pulled back, I'm like,
But I know I can get you back.
It's torturous, kind of like.
Well, yeah,
Like,
I guess
know
it
you
is.
probably like that.
Yeah, I am a sadist, so I do kind of like the pain and suffering. But so what it was explained to me is that when you realize that she's close to the edge, close to floating away, grab her and pull her back. And what I do is literally grab you and hug you.
Yeah, and that the physical contact
the
and the stopping of the pain,
It
the
brings you back.
sensation, it's that.
And then I can start over, and that will extend the scene.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, because all my sadism isn't satisfied yet.
Right.
So sometimes you get there too fast. I pull you back, and then I'll start again. And if then when I'm satisfied, then then I'll let you go ahead and float away.
Well, I don't mind. I want you to be satisfied, so it's okay.
So I understand, but I do understand the frustration because it's like
torturous.
It's like edging.
It can be, yeah.
But I'm like, I got to, this ain't all about you, baby. I have sadistic tendencies that I need to have satisfied.
I get it.
So, but yeah, that's a good thing, and I know that you've gotten there through the paddle. I know you've gotten it. The flogger almost always does
Yes,
that too.
I love the flogger. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Is there something else that kind of? Well, let me ask you this: is there something else that you think you could get there to? With?
That I could get there. I don't know. I think part of it for me is the rhythmic.
So if it was something that's rhythmic.
Yes, if it's rhythmic like that, kind of that medium pace, rhythm like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what does it for me.
So let me ask you this: do you think that you could get there through Florentine flogging? And let me tell you before you answer. Let me say this: I have heard, because I read and study all the time, a very well-known female top does not Florentine flog, and the reason why she said is because Florentine flogging creates a rhythm that is faster than the humans breathe. And to get to subspace, you have to give enough time for them to process each strike. Florentine flogging is too fast.
You know what? I'd be willing to try it to see.
So I'm wondering,
because I like the way it sounds.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when I've heard, observed others.
But what made me think about that is you said that medium pace.
Yes, that
Florentine flogging is fast.
Yeah,
it's pretty fast rhythm.
And like there's been times like I think I've gotten there from the paddle, but I think
I know you've gotten there.
Yeah, I've gotten there from the paddle, but it's not rhythmic with the paddle.
That's true.
It's not. What usually happens with the paddle is the intensity of the sensation becomes like, it's like even though you touch me in between each strike or whatever, I still get this like it's a build up kind of thing because my buns are still like steaming hot in between the strikes, even though when you rub it, it's like it never calms down. Like it never, over time, it just never calms down. It's like hitting the same spot in the same time a bunch of times. Eventually, it's just gonna be constant. The sensation. I'm trying not to call it pain. I'm remembering what Miss Juicy said. Don't call it pain, but it's eventually it becomes constant, and it becoming constant is what takes me to that place again. It's the sensation induced.
So it does not necessarily have to be rhythmic. It just has to be the sensation it does it.
Yeah, the sensation being constant, like no breaks in between it. You know what I'm saying? Will make it.
So now let me ask you this. Tell me about the Wartenberg wheel.
Oh God!
Does that do?
Okay,
have
so
you ever got?
We have this Wartenberg wheel that has electric. Well, current. I don't even know. You can put it. Hook it up. Electric current goes through it, and so you know what the Wartenberg. I don't know what kind of play would have to happen with the Wartenberg wheel for it to get there, because it's so like it. It's almost like it's such an acute, sharp feeling. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have that build to it. It's all of a sudden, you. So I don't get a chance to kind of get lulled into that, into that space. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't know if you would need to just like
maybe start it low and
turn it up slowly. Or maybe turn it back down, then turn up a little more, then turn it down. I don't know. You have to play with it and see what will happen.
Let me tell you.
But it's just, that is some intent. Oh my God. I scream so loud. I feel like it's just, I don't know how to, Lord.
You do scream very loud. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that Wartenberg wheel. And I've experienced this before. This is a little trick. I don't know if somebody might steal this trick. Remember I used the peppermint oil?
Yes.
So what I did is I used peppermint oil and massaged her down in peppermint oil. Now peppermint oil it like heightens all sensation. That's something that I picked up outside of BDSM.
Yeah.
It heightens like all sensation. So I used the peppermint oil and then used the Wartenberg wheel. And you told me it overstimulated you. It was too much.
Yes, I remember that. Yes, I do. I was kind of a wreck after that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was.
You said it was too much because not only does it intensify all the sensations on your skin. Mm-hmm. It also,
I was breathing
the smell
it.
Of it.
Yes,
the smell of it
was all in my head.
So you smell all of this yes. peppermint. Your body is like on fire. Yes. And you use the Wartenberg wheel. Mm. And I said, you know something? And I just tried that out. I wanted to see how it was. And you said it was too much.
Maybe use less of it. Just use a couple drops of the peppermint oil. You know what I'm saying? Maybe just less, a little less.
But you did not get the subspace that night. You were too.
I was overstimulated. Yeah, it was like too much, too fast.
So therefore, reason why I'm asking this is I'm curious about the stimulation. You said the rhythmic stimulation of the flogger does it, but then we already established that it doesn't necessarily have to be rhythm because we have to paddle.
Yeah, that's true.
So therefore, it's just whatever the stimulation is. It has to be some type of sustained,
and I think it needs to be
medium.
Building too. Okay. Building, because there's a building thing that happens.
Okay.
Over time, and like I said, right before I go to the floaty place, I feel this burst. It's like a burst of pain. Like I just feel like my whole whatever it is being hit is on fire, and then all of a sudden I just don't feel anything after that.
Now I've noticed and of course because I'm a sadist, one of the things that I will do sometimes is to shock you back.
Yes.
What will I do?
I don't know. What do? You have to tell me.
Pour that cold water.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. The cold water. Oh.
I'll take ice water.
That's just mean.
Because I am a sadist. That's
just mean.
but here's the thing. So I know your back is on fire, your butt is on fire, whatever. So when I pour cold water on it,
you know what?
It's a shock.
The people listening out there, this is, I'm sorry to my fellow S-types and bottoms out there that are, like getting. Your tops and dominants are going to be now using these strategies to drive you bananas. I'm sorry. I apologize. My sistren. I apologize.
I don't. Fellow sadists unite. Don't let up. Don't let up. Pedal to the metal. Give it all.
Oh my goodness.
But I usually will keep. I used to have like a little thermos of ice water, and then when I'm ready to kind of end or whatever, like some people will bring and I will do this too. I'll bring the scene down slowly and kind of, but then sometimes, the wolf is completely out, and I'll be like, the little devil on my shoulder be like, get the ice water. And I get the ice water, and she's blindfolded, she may be ball gagged or whatever, she's in the subspace. But when that cold water hit her, pops her right back.
Just mean, cruel, and unusual punishment.
I think we've done our time, huh?
Yeah, I think so. I enjoy talking about this because I think that knowing the mechanism behind your own individual journey to subspace and top space is a pretty neat thing to talk about, and it's I look forward to exploring more of your sadistic stylings.
Yeah, she says that now till it's time.
Yeah, until you pouring the cold ice water on me, my peppermint covered back. But anyway, so thank you for talking with me,
No
Sir
problem.
Phoenix Black.
All right, Sadists, unite. Send me 25 cents every time you use that trick.
Thank you for listening.